Welcome back to Lead on Horses, where we lead horses, not sheep. Because remember, you can always lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe now or follow me on these platforms. Appreciate it as always. Well, we're on the eve of Game 3, Knicks and Spurs. Looking like whatever I had planned is going on. A lot of people didn't see it going this way. But we got the Knicks up 2 games on the Spurs right now, 2-0. Brunson hasn't had to look spectacular, but he's looking like Brunson, still stepping up in the fourth quarters. But the last game wasn't that well. I think 7 for 25. But Cat, I don't know. That's up to the people, but he looks like the MVP thus far, averaging a double-double, especially his impact on Wemby. Not just him, OG and others, but defensively. But Cat is, what he's doing on offense is taking Wemby's focus and taking his effort and attention and having to put it on him instead of what he needs to do offensively. He's having to focus on Cat. So, man, we'll see. I still, I got the Knicks in 5, but a lot of people are now saying Knicks in 4. I don't see it going that way. I think it's too much money involved. They could generate more money with an extra game, and we'll see how it plays out. But New York on the verge of doing something they ain't done in over, 40, 50 years? Like, what? It's crazy. I think it's funny, though, how actual Knicks fans and Knicks players are scared to win. I heard Cat, everybody's anticipating them winning and the fan reaction more than the game itself. It's crazy. I've never seen that before. New York, y'all got to calm down, man. Like, y'all win, celebrate, but it's no need for deaths. It's no need for destroying, but this is something that's been going on forever. Some cities win and they destroy their city. Just never understood it. Makes absolutely no sense. I understand that celebration can sometimes lead into, when you're really celebrating raw, no Diddy. When you're really celebrating raw, the physical emotions, that you display, some things can happen. But as far as burning shit down and breaking windows and tearing down businesses, why are you tearing down the fabric of your city? Like, it makes no sense. So I don't know, man, but good luck to New York, the city of New York, and also to the Knicks. I am rooting for you because I'm sick of the foreign agenda. And I think that even Wemby, just seeing how he got there, right? The bigger play of, out of nowhere, the narrative came out the blue on Shea that he's a free throw merchant. So you noticed in that series, Spurs and Thunder, a lot of the games I was seeing, the Spurs were shooting more free throws. Wow. Nobody felt any type of way about it because this narrative is that Shea is hunting for free throws. He's not the first player to do that. But I think the Thunder was so dominant, they needed something. And I know that the Spurs beat them in the regular season, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Playoffs is a different animal. Even when you look at the games, they had a chance with J-Dub out, just crazy. But they had a chance, but that narrative, that free throw narrative, swayed the eyes. Then they had the announcers, Hartenstein's holding Wemby. Bro, that goes on 365, 24/7. Like, not just Wemby, everybody. But they keyed in on that to, I think, sway the perception, sway how people watch the games, so that when they weren't giving the Thunder those calls, there wasn't really much backlash. It was more of like, stick it to them type stuff. So, so with that being said, the foreign agenda, get them out of here, pack them up. But Brunson, the Knicks, like I said, on the verge of winning. Trump is supposed to be, how about it? Trump is supposed to be at Game 3. Should be interesting. I'm anticipating more boos than cheers. And I think that might be the game because the whole world is looking at a sweep now. And the Knicks energy is going to be crazy. I agree. But I think the Spurs probably will get Game 3 because the world is not looking at that. The world is looking at a broom and emotions are high. So I look for a monkey wrench, a curveball. However it has to get done. Somebody gets injured, or we knock on wood, we never want that, but somebody's injured, or early foul trouble on Cat, or OG or somebody that's key, Brunson, whoever, whatever way to get it done, I think the Spurs come out game 3 on top. Look for players like Keldon Johnson. Possibly the storyline is the rookie coming through with ice in his veins, Dylan Harper, who has a big game in a big city like New York, where I think he's from around that area, but those could potentially be key factors. So I say watch out for that. But yeah, onto the foreign agenda. I've been vocal about it this season in particularly, but it's been going on for a few years. But this season it really stood out because it was just a lot of shady stuff going on. I can point to so many things where it just didn't make sense. Kawhi Leonard not being voted an All-Star. To get certain guys in the door. It made no sense. At All-Star break, Kevin Durant is vocal. He says something about the foreign player. The next day, the KD fouls leak caused turmoil in the Houston locker room, ended their chance of, a lot of people saw them as a contender this season, even with Van Vliet out and Adams going down. But it seemed like their chemistry and everything just unraveled from then. But him making those comments and then getting exposed, I think, 24 hours later, I think is not a coincidence. As somebody who watches the NBA and watch sports, Kobe was very instrumental and was a big part of growing the brand. You see the admiration and love that he got overseas while he was here. And in the summer times when he would travel, you started to see other players starting to travel more and started to grow their brands overseas. I think Kobe was instrumental in that. He's not a foreign player, Sure, he grew up in Italy, but he's from Philly and all that. He's an American. But the NBA didn't have to fabricate and try to push a foreign player to the forefront to grow the brand. I think that foreign people, from what I've noticed growing up, whether it's music or sports, they appreciate true greatness more than I feel like Americans. I feel like Americans are so easy to control and manipulate through media that we go with whatever is put on ESPN. Like, a lot of us won't even watch the games. We'll watch the highlights and take that as the gospel, where they're more embedded into the culture, where they want to watch the games. They want to learn, they want to get better. So they're actually watching, they're actually paying attention. And yeah, I think that the commissioner should just take his hands off of that. I know that there's gambling in there now, legally, and all of that, but just let the players play, man. We can see it. We can see the officiate. We can see all of these things. And no matter what your numbers say, Luka's averaging 33 or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. The true fans, the true people that watch the game are going to see and understand that a player like him, that they've pushed to the forefront for all these years, and now they're throwing him back. They're pushing him back because he didn't get it done. They got him to the finals. They got him a Kyrie, got him to the finals. He didn't get it done. He went cold. So now they're giving it to some other guys. Shea had his chance. Wemby, the alien, looks like he's taking over. But a player like Luka, you compare him to a Jaylen Brown, a Kawhi Leonard, these guys who play both sides, impact both sides. I think that true basketball fans, people that really understand the game, are going to always understand that those players are more valuable, no matter who's dominating the ESPN headlines, no matter what face you're pushing in front, no matter how many times you make that player have the marquee games on the networks. Like, we see, which is why NBA League Pass is available and necessary, because they can overshadow the players that you actually want to watch, and they're just pushing certain players in front of you. Like I said before, too many times do we have, because they've tried to force certain players on us. I look at the Warriors last season with Curry. All those primetime games, he was not even available for a lot. I think Steve Kerr likes to do that, like just to stick it to us. I know he was injured too, but he has a history of sitting guys a game and then bringing them back when they're not on TV, whatever. But I think that they need to adopt a flex with that schedule, because there's too many times where they're putting the marquee, the big franchises on TV when the players are not there, and we're watching mediocre basketball, and when there's good games on that they could be choosing. So something needs to be done about the flex schedule. Make that adopt that in NBA. An interesting point too with this whole foreign thing that should be getting attention or more, I think talked about more. I looked at it when it happened, when they made that trade. But Brunson and Luka, right? Brunson was a young guy coming over when he was over there from Villanova, drafted to the Mavericks. Somehow made it work, which is crazy to me. That just showed his skill that someone that size is having to play alongside somebody who's ball dominant. I'm a point guard myself and I'm 6'1" or whatever. And I'm playing alongside this guy and I'm still impacting the game. I'm still getting mine. And they let that walk. Brunson's undersized, right? He's not the greatest defender, but that once again, he's a perfect example when you compare him to Luka. He has effort. He brings effort on defense, more effort than Luka does. He plays a more winning brand of basketball, right? And sure, he does dribble the ball a lot. That's the system in New York, though. When Cat's not aggressive too, he's the scorer. OG, I like how he got more aggressive this season. Bridges, he had those years, with Phoenix and Brooklyn. He could score, but he's been a disappointment thus far. This year, he's playing a little better, but that's kind of just been what has been necessary from Brunson. And whether it's the coaching, you look at Mike Brown now and they're doing different things, which is maybe why they're more successful. But Brunson, I think that's not an indictment on Brunson. It's more about, like I said, the team around him and the coaching. But you look what he does. Like, he plays a winning brand of basketball. Hence, fourth quarter, he's always missed the clutch. Like, he plays more of a winning brand of basketball. But again, they chose Luka, got a Kyrie. The first year to get Kyrie, make it to the finals. He's not credited for that. It's all Luka's credit. Cool, right? Not really, but whatever. But somebody in that office knew that they couldn't win with him, decided to go with AD, but it wasn't about AD. They got the number one pick. Wow. They got the number one pick, which is crazy. They were nowhere near the bottom for those odds, but hey, it happened. I think they made the right decision. Cooper Flag is more of a winning basketball type. He plays more of a winning brand of basketball than Luka. So I think they made the right decision, but yeah, Luka and Brunson. If Brunson wins this year, does that now put more of a microscope or more of a stigma on Luka? Are people going to start actually looking at him for what he is? Or is it just more excuses and the Lakers need this, the Lakers need that? Like, I'm curious to see. But here we are, we're in June, halfway through the year. I call it like the halftime of the year. I think it's been a decent year in hip hop and rap. I think it's been okay with some releases from J. Cole, Wale, Drake. I think I'm missing another big one. Wale, Drake, Cole. But sure, we'll go with those three. Cool. I think Drake albums, like I said, nah. And I don't care about those sales. I knew that he was gonna have the sales published. He's gonna have the sales. That's always his thing, right? Because those sales can definitely determine and dictate the sheep and how they think. Oh, he's selling this. It's hot. A lot of people don't actually like or even know what they like. They have to be told what to like. So it's no surprise. This has always been his thing. But as far as, like I said, I stand by what I said. Like, I don't know any music fans that are like, man, he put out fire. Like, I'm hearing about this song, that song. It's the same song that I'm hearing off of a big project like that. It's like, that's telling me, I mean, as well as me, because I'm not a biased person. I'm not biased. I like good music. I played the album, not sticking. Trash.
Can you
That's
please
done.
just
Cole,
cut it out?
Cool project. I lived with it for a few weeks. But honestly, it kind of felt like a compilation. It just felt like a compilation of tracks. I know he had a theme, the Carolina theme, just kind of, it's not much there. But it's a cool album. I mean, as far as rap, it's J. Cole. I'm not saying he rap bad at all. He rap good, but the songs, there were a few songs that I really, really like. Bombs in the Ville, I like that joint. And some other songs, it's cool. But I think the halftime album of the year award has to go to Wale for Everything Is a Lot. Too many tracks on there for me to even name that were fire. It's 18 of them on there. Rap, Has some Afrobeat elements heavy throughout there. Really liked it. Really like what he did. Really like really like what he did with his features. He's to me number one. He's still number one in that R&B feature bag. Like there's nobody that fuck with him with that. Drake, you can't touch. You can't touch him. That's supposed to be your bag, the R&B. But when it comes time to featuring an R&B artist, that's Wale, hands down. He's been like that from way back. Still remains there. The joint with Leon Thomas is crazy. Um, he got one where it sounds like because Kalani's not credited, but it sounds like her vocals is on there, so it must be a sample. I like that joint. Um, this joint Like he got this a feature on there, fire. Um, but the feature thing, that's his bag. But as far as tracks, you got Belly, you got Watching Us, you got Blanco, Fly Away, City on Fire, Like I mean, there's more I can name, but he's really in his bag, and he's talking real throughout the album for anybody who's been through stuff and experienced stuff that actually likes to hear people make relatable music. Very fire album. I think this is his best album to date. And I was a big Wale fan when he first was out. I think the MMG move really turned me off when he went to them. But I'm late to this album. I've heard it before on a road trip. I played it and I liked it. But I went back to it and was just like, man, undeniable. When I really look at the landscape of hip hop through this first half of the year, he's at the top. I think he has the album to beat right now. So salute Wale. Fire. Keep on doing it, man. He said something in the album too. He knew that basically he wasn't gonna get his just due, because there's this conspiracy that, and I'll be honest, I was a part of it. Even when this album dropped, I was reluctant to listen because every time I've heard Wale's name come up for the past decade now, it's been him complaining or having gripes, and it turned me off. Not that, but that and combination of the music I'm just like, this ain't really for me no more. But this album, I feel like he's back in his bag, and I like the shit he was talking on here. So Wale, Everything Is a Lot, definitely check that out. Album of the year thus far in rap, and it deserves its just due. Nick Saban though. Nick Saban is basically in court right now trying to take away, or in his words, not take away, but trying to regulate the NIL and have stiffer regulations on the NIL and how players are benefiting from it. Crazy to me. The guy that, come on, man, he had all those players, Heisman winners, all those players coming through his program, and it was nothing wrong. But as soon as the NIL was born and given rights to more of the players, he has a damn problem with it. And it's funny, I got this list down. The last the last champions, right? Because he says that his claim is that it needs to be more competitive. What? Right? The last champions post NIL deal, Indiana just won. You had Ohio State before that. Michigan won, Georgia won 2 times in a row. Now, before the NIL deal went into effect, you had Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Alabama, Clemson. Where is the lack of competition he's speaking to? Since I was into college football, it's always been SEC pretty much is dominating, right? Like, that's been the thing. It looks like, though, since the NIL, it's looking more spread out now. You got Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan winning, right? Before that, those years I stated prior were all SEC. Where is the lack of competition that he is? Where's the proof of lack of competition? That's always been the case when it came to college sports. That's been the gripe. That's why the NIL was created, was because that was their stance, is lack of competition. Because we can't prove, we know that you're paying these players, we know that you're incentivizing them, but some of you organizations, some of you institutions are protected, hence Alabama, Nick Saban. Some of y'all are protected, and so y'all are not penalized. So we just need a better shot at getting top talent, hence the NIL born, as well as the players being compensated. That's a big piece, but come on, we know it's not all about the players. It's about the franchises, the institutions as well. What happened? It looks like now you got different schools in the mix now, as well as the playoffs and stuff being born. That plays a hand, but you got different schools winning the championship now. I don't see the problem. I think the problem is it's pretty blatant that he lost his advantage, and so he's pissed. Retired from coaching, he couldn't keep up. He's pissed, and now look, he's I think it's stupid. You're dumb to fall for whatever the fuck he's saying. That's his true intention. Get the fuck out of here, Nick Saban. Go, boy. It pisses me off because they just play in your face and act so genuine when it's bull. We can see what's going on. To that, you know, you look at Saban and how he feels justified in stepping into the courtroom with that bull. There's a lot of court cases going on right now in America. There was one that just happened in Colombia with the store owner, like Rick Chow or something Chow, but where he followed an individual, a young boy. He followed him out of the store, said reports for over a mile, shot him in the back, and he got off, right? A big deal. He got off. Nothing was done. The video's out, shows the individual, the young boy, Cyrus, long live, young brother, long live. But it shows him in the video. He walks in, is already being followed and being watched closely. Just as he walks in the store, the lady looks like she tells him, hey, no bags in here or whatever. You gotta put your bag down. He puts his bag down. No issue. Leaves his bag right there at the front door, goes to look at something to drink. Like today's prices, everything's going up. You know, he puts the waters back, heads towards the door to get ready to leave. Looks like he gets accused, you know, of stealing the waters. You know, so he shows the lady, you know, his hoodie. Like, yo, I got nothing in here. I didn't take nothing. Cool. Picks up his bag, goes out the door, and you see the Chow's son. I guess he shouted something, and they shouted at him. They follow him out the door. The kid is walking. Now they come out the door. Chow has the gun, and the dude starts booking. Cyrus starts booking, chase him down, murder him, and then the report comes out that the boy had a gun. They say he had a gun, but I think that is that's the problem. That's the go-to. When it's time to get a black man into something, you just put something on him. He had a gun, which was irrelevant because he never pulled the gun out, never used the gun. The gun was never in the picture. It was found after he was murdered. And somehow they bring that into the case like it's relevant. Okay. I think that though is the problem, it's more telling that statement, he has a gun. We've heard that so many times when it comes to black individuals, especially black men. And as soon as you throw that out there, it justifies treating the black person inhumane. Kyle Rittenhouse, does it ring a bell? Dylan Roof, does it ring a bell? I can keep going, but these individuals that actually murdered people, or my bad, Roof murdered people, Rittenhouse was just threatening people, I guess apparently. But these individuals are actually allowed to possess their weapons, walk around with them, or whatever. This boy, whether you want to say he was young, underage or not, weapon never in play. But he's murdered, and that's the go-to. He had a gun. America has a problem with black men carrying guns, legally or illegally. Look at Ja Morant. Ja Morant, to this day, is still suffering. Sure, he made dumb decisions as far as in my case, but that's to whoever is the person with an opinion, right? Nothing about carrying illegal firearms or anything like that, but more of the brand of the NBA, right? That's what they're saying. The brand didn't want him displaying or showing himself walking around with guns. I understand it. But the way that he was treated behind it, that was years ago, and they're throwing out all these things, all these injuries, this and that, and it's like, no, y'all are just not playing him. And, you know, it snowballed into now he wants to, all this other stuff, he's trying to get out of Memphis, blah, 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 but the root of it was the guns. America has a problem with black men and guns, being visible with guns. There's a fear when There's always this talk that white people are scared that black people haven't forgot about the past, slavery, and that we're going to retaliate or something like that. If that was the case, I think it would have been done by now. There hasn't been any action to show that. There's no justification for those claims, just fear mongering. And I don't understand. I think you have to have a pretty low IQ to even think like that, or it's just out of fear. But there's a connection there. America has a problem with black men and guns. Like I said, why was that the go-to with Cyrus? It wasn't even a thing. It didn't even exist. You found it after he was murdered. A young boy like that was a threat, right? That's what they claim. He was a threat. He stole, which he didn't steal anything. You accuse somebody of stealing. He didn't steal. You murdered them, and somehow you're free. No more to talk about there. There's no more even to talk about. There's those facts right there alone. There's no more to talk about. There's no more diving and deep digging. But that's the whole point of this court system and this system in place, is just to basically have any explanation or look for any excuse to make them not go to jail, because they'll say one thing in this case and in the next case it's the whole opposite way. Like, we have to look what goes on with this Carmelo Anthony thing, because I think that, I'm praying for the brother, but like you just saw with the child boy, like, there's no such thing as justice with this system. They just do what they want to do. And whatever the agenda is to cause chaos or whatever it is, whatever point we're at, you look at who's the president again and what he stands for, it doesn't look good for the brother. I never wish death on anybody, but for some bigger individuals to approach that brother, and the facts of having others go distract the coaches and the people that's supposed to be watching over them, the fact of that alone lets you know intent. I don't have to be a lawyer or a genius to understand a few facts that paint the full picture. But also, when it first happened, like last year or whatever, the stories I'm hearing from his brother, Metcalf's brother, that survived or whatever, that was still alive, the stories I was hearing from him, he was having different stories and different videos. Now, I'm not talking about little minuscule facts. I'm talking about a whole different story. So still, these are all facts, but they're going to do what they want to do. And these are things that we can see that just make more outrage for when they do let him walk, or when they do indict Carmelo Anthony. I pray that's not the case. I pray that I'm wrong, but the writing's on the wall. So keep Carmelo in your prayers, man. Carmelo Anthony and his family and loved ones. On the Clippers Aspiration deal, I think that this is a crazy case, because they talked about it at the beginning of last season. So basically what happened is, okay, Aspiration operated as a basically eco-friendly bank. Now, their investors, notable names, when they started up, and notable investors, Robert Downey Jr., Leonardo DiCaprio, Orlando Bloom, to name a few. So this is legit. Like, this was not something that just spoofed up out the air or spawned out the air for the Clippers' benefit. This was a bank, right? Ballmer was also one of the investors. He invested, I believe they said 50 million. I think 50 million initially or something, and then they had a deal with the Clippers organization. Now, that was that with Ballmer. Kawhi had a deal with Aspiration as well. A no-show deal that was worth 28 million over 4 years. Also, 20 million in Aspiration stock. Now, something came out last year, the beginning of the season, where Paulo Torres, I guess, was dealing with the Aspiration, I don't know if an ex-employee or employee, that basically was like, yo, this is what's going on. Ballmer and them, they're doing this and funneling money to Kawhi under the table. The thing is, Ballmer is claiming, yo, I knew nothing about that. I knew nothing about Kawhi. Kawhi has his own deal with Aspiration. I'm not the owner of Aspiration. I knew nothing about that. I'm just an investor just like these and the other individuals. I think that off of that, guys, alone, and the fact that it's been a whole year, if they had something, then it should have been done. right? Just because you want to make him guilty doesn't mean he's guilty. Just because you think it looks a certain way, you can't do that. If Kawhi had a deal with the business and Bomber had a deal with the business, it is what it is, man. Like it is what it is. It's not like some astronomical numbers or nothing like that, neither. But another thing, this goes back to the Saban thing. Let's stop acting like that shit don't go on, man. Let's stop acting like this brand new. Let's stop that. Let's stop that, man. I don't like how they targeting Kawhi with this situation. And I look at how the season played out. Wow, it looks like they target him even in the games. Like they're not giving him his calls. Damn near robbed him of the All-Star. Robbed him of the first team. Wasn't even in MVP conversations. It's just like he doesn't even exist. And it's frustrating, but there's no legit thing where the evidence that's been provided thus far that says, yeah, Kawhi and them, this was their plan. It's a coincidence. It's LA, you know. It was the co-founder, CEO co-founder who got found guilty and got sentenced to 14 years. That was last week. So with that news going down, you know, a lot of people were looking like, oh, Kawhi and them, man, they're about to be guilty, be found guilty because he got found on fraud. The co-founder, that's not the case. If anything, they could be more victims. They're looking more like victims because of that. So it's just all about what you want to see, the way you want to see it. But if they haven't found anything thus far yet tangible to indict him and penalize them, I think that they're in good hands. I think everything should be as it is. Just wipe your hands and that's it. Yeah, I don't see even then, like what did Kawhi do? I'm still trying to understand it. It's just all allegations. It's all allegations. And yeah, I think if it's an ex-employee, it makes the allegations even more far-fetched because it seems like just an ex-disgruntled employee. So hopefully they get it right and stop penalizing Kawhi, man. Going in the next season after this stuff is done, stop penalizing that man. Stop, holding him out from awards. But maybe that's double-sided. Maybe it's this and also the foreign thing. He's not foreign. But yeah, leave Kawhi alone. As always, though.
If nobody else will do it, be weird.